Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler seemed like a Disney dream team destined to grace red carpets arm in arm. One was already an international superstar, and the other was a rising talent whose voice and charm could captivate an entire generation. Yet, right when the live-action Snow White premiered, a strange chill swept through Hollywood. Nobody was talking about the film's enchanting costumes or that ever-iconic evil queen transformation. Instead, whispers of behind-the-scenes tension took center stage. It all started with a simple Instagram post and ended in a controversy that shook Disney's House of Magic at its foundations. Rachel, fresh from starring roles that catapulted her to fame, decided to share a sweet tribute on her socials. It was meant to be a reflection of her journey filming Snow White. Behind-the-scenes photos, heartfelt thank yous to her co-workers, and glowing words about how the project changed her life. For a moment, fans soaked it all in until they realized something crucial was missing. Despite name-dropping almost everyone else, Rachel had not included a single mention of Gal. For an actress playing the story's legendary evil queen and sharing top billing, being left out felt jarring, almost like a statement. Instantly, theories exploded. Was this an innocent oversight or an unmistakable sign of brewing animosity? If you assumed it was just social media drama, think again, because fans soon discovered that Gal and Rachel were polar opposites in more than one way, especially when it came to politics. Gal, being Israeli, has made no secret of her pride and support for her homeland. Meanwhile, Rachel has publicly championed Palestine, tweeting her unfiltered stance during the filming process. That sparked immediate tension among onlookers who speculated about hostility on set. Were the two leads locking horns in private, with polite smiles disguising a far deeper rift? As if ideological differences weren't enough, each actress also inhabited a completely different personal universe. Gal, now in her late 30s, is a mother of 4 and has been married for ages. Her life seems steeped in family commitments and Hollywood professionalism. Rachel, barely in her 20s, is at the brink of superstardom, juggling auditions, interviews, and new apartments, fueled by the wild energy of youth. Their lifestyles couldn't be more distinct. One might be FaceTiming kids between scenes, while the other is finalizing a deal for another breakout role. Anyone who's been in a workplace with stark generational divides knows how quickly cordial small talk can morph into stiff tolerance. All these fault lines finally cracked during the film's official Los Angeles premiere. Photos show the duo side by side, forcing smiles under the blinding lights. Fans pored over every detail, the stiffness of their poses, the lack of playful banter, the forced politeness. Where was the sisterly synergy that Disney usually loves to promote? It felt like two colleagues who respect each other's work, yet share no real fondness. Tensions didn't stay hidden for long. Interviewers circled like hawks, eager to pounce on any slip. Rachel tried to steer conversations toward general messages of empowerment, saying women in Hollywood shouldn't be pitted against each other. But her refusal to name Gal left people suspicious. Was she truly speaking about unity, or was this a way to dismiss rumors without directly addressing them? Meanwhile, Disney found itself in a position it never expected. The studio is legendary for smoothing out conflict behind the scenes, but not even a fresh wave of movie tie-in merchandise could distract from the drama swirling around its two biggest stars. Insiders claim Disney minimized the PR fanfare, hoping to dodge pointed questions. Of course, that only made the chatter louder. And if that wasn't challenging enough, the film's casting choices were under fire too. Traditionally, Snow White's defining trait is her skin like snow, a detail Disney critics argue is woven into the story's very identity. When the role went to Rachel, who is of Colombian and Polish heritage, political commentators and outraged fans shouted about Hollywood's so-called woke agenda. But Rachel wasn't about to retreat from the spotlight. She owned the casting decision, explaining how meaningful it was for her, and potentially millions of kids who'd finally see someone with brown eyes and olive skin donning the classic Snow White gown. She stressed that being cast in this role was about talent, heart, and the chance to shake up the stale pattern of remaking the same story with the same aesthetics. It's not 1937 anymore, she reminded everyone, and the fact that Disney was embracing representation could be seen as progress. Still, anger over the altered storyline flared, with critics questioning the new origin of Snow White's name and the shift away from fairest of them all. At the heart of it, though, you have to wonder, are these changes to a classic fairy tale the real source of the storm? Or did all the controversies blend together, casting, politics, generational differences, until the film itself became overshadowed by conflict? In reworking the story, Disney opened itself to both applause and condemnation, revealing a cultural tug-of-war between preserving cherished tales and adapting them for modern audiences. Some see it as a bold move, others call it a betrayal of tradition. So, here we are, a live-action Snow White that courted controversy at every turn, made headlines for its lead actress's rumored feud, and left Disney's PR team scrambling. Gal and Rachel remain tight-lipped, giving polite interviews and measured social posts, while fans are busy dissecting every loaded glance. And beneath all the glitz, the larger debate rages on. What does it mean to update old stories for a new era? And where do we draw the line between staying loyal to history and forging a fresh narrative path? In the end, the entire saga feels bigger than any one film. It's a mirror reflecting Hollywood's growing pains, the push for inclusivity, the clash of personal beliefs, the strain of endless public scrutiny. And even though the cameras have moved on to the next blockbuster release, the questions remain. Will new perspectives on old tales uplift the industry and bring audiences together, or merely stoke more controversy and fan division? No matter where you stand, the conversation around Snow White has proven one thing for certain. The magic of a classic fairy tale can spark real-world drama in the blink of an eye. And sometimes that drama has a way of changing the story far more than any script rewrite ever could. The key question might be less about who's right or wrong, and more about how society itself wants to interpret these beloved stories in an era that demands wider perspectives. Snow White isn't just a story about a magic mirror and a poison apple anymore. It's about us, our ever-shifting values, and how we rewrite myths to reflect our changing world. In the end, whether you believe Gal and Rachel were genuine rivals or simply victims of internet-fueled speculation, their story highlights a universal truth. Narratives evolve, controversies can flare up from the simplest of sparks, and fairy tales, no matter how timeless, are always subject to the ebb and flow of our modern discourse. After all, the real magic lies not just in the story we tell, but in how we choose to see ourselves and each other within it.